Hey, how you guys doing this morning? Oh, I've been running around like a crazy person this morning. Okay. I'm probably running around like a crazy person most of the time. I swear I spend most of my days looking for stuff. No joke. But I decided last night to do this, and so yeah, just a little extra crazy this morning. But I have been playing with the IOD stuff already, you guys, and I am so excited, and I think that you guys are going to be excited too. So I'm gonna clean up my desk a little bit because I think if you guys saw it as is, you would definitely judge me. You would judge me. I'm gonna wait to see if I see any comments. I'm not seeing any so far. Which is weird. If you guys could do me a favor, if you guys are watching, if anyone's watching, if you could just say, hey, Royce, how you doing? So that I know that I'm on and I'm hopefully in the right place while I gather myself a little bit. I probably prepped too many projects. Good morning, Donna. How are you? Good morning. Good morning. So I wanted to go over, I wasn't going to do this, but I don't know. Last night when I started fiddling around with the stuff, I guess I got excited and I thought we'd come on and play. Oh, I don't know about magic, girl. We'll see. I've been fiddling around this morning. Oh man, I left a project across the way. We'll do that one last. It's okay. I'll go get that in a few minutes. Let's start off with some smaller stuff. Hey, Donna. Hey, Pat. Let's start off with some smaller projects first, right? And then we'll move on. Or let's see. How about I show everything? That's what we'll do. I show you guys all the stuff that we have. And then I even brought my tape measure out because a lot of times you guys will ask me questions. Hey, Ruth. Is it Ruthel? And the questions about sizes and I don't have the answer. So I brought, hey, Miriam, my tape measure. So if you guys have questions about like the sizes of specific things, which we'll get down to it and then you guys will see what I mean. So like the first thing we have is the Heavenly stamp, which I think you guys are going to love. I am like so loving these wings right here. They are so fabulous. They're pretty big. Like on the back here, it shows them stamped on the back of a shirt. Can you guys see that? No, huh? Wait, there we go. Stamped on the back of a shirt, right? So they're super cute. But I want to take stuff out the package and show y'all. Because if you guys are like me, you know, I want to see. Do I not have any chapstick out here? Oh, Lord. I'm going to have ashy lips, y'all. So this is the Heavenly, the stamp right here. And I'm just going to open it so we can take a look at it. I think, let's point you guys down to the table. And then that way you guys can see. I don't know. Can you guys see that? This is so fabulous. Let me find something white to put under it so you can see it. Here, I'll do this. And of course, you guys know they come with the masks as well that are cut already to size. So, oh, that's much better. So you guys can see these stamps and there is so much details. These feathers are, Donna Sue. I didn't say how wonderful I'd measure. I said I would measure, but sometimes I get questions. It's hard to gauge scale sometimes when you guys are looking. Like, I was curious before I actually got my stock in hands, like how wide are these wings, right? So like from tip to this side, they're like 7 inches wide. So these are like significant, right? Hey, Marion, thank you. Thank you. And so this one I think is going to be so beautiful. And last night I was looking at my Angels Masterboard, the Roycycled decoupage paper, and I'm just like looking at these two, figuring out how I can pair them. So what we're going to do first, you guys, is I'm just going to pull everything out. We're going to kind of look at it. And then we'll play in a few minutes. You guys should see what I have pulled out. It's ridiculousness over here. I don't know what we're actually going to be able to do in the time that we have, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So these are so beautiful. And look at the detail. Like, fabulous. Let's do, you know what? I want to do a stamp with the wing. I haven't used this one yet. You guys can tell because it's still intact. You guys should see my, my transfer. It's already a hot mess. but I started playing last night. So let's stamp this wing and let's just see how much detail we actually have here, because it's hard to get a good sense when you are looking at it on the sheets, right? And I know this is how I deal with my stamps, you guys. I just cut them off, and then I always leave enough plastic around the edges so that I can handle them without touching, you know, the actual stamp. So let me move some stuff out the way. And yes, my my space is a hot mess because I have been playing all morning in preparation for our play date. So I'm gonna put that right there for now. We will get to that, but let's just do a quick stamp really quickly, just so we can see like how beautifully detailed these wings are. Hey Doris. Well, you know, Stella, you have to find a retailer who has it, which shouldn't be, right, Donna? I just see so many opportunities for this stamp. And you guys know you can stamp fabric, right? I think I'm gonna do a pillow sham using this stamp. I juiced that up pretty good. I don't know if that's good. I kind of loaded it as if I'm gonna stamp fabric. So I loaded that up, and then I'm gonna just stamp this right here on this paper. I just wanna see the actual stamp. And when you guys are stamping, you want to hold your stamp down because you don't want to shift it once you stamp, right? And just kind of tickle it a little. That's what we say, just tickle it. And what you're doing is making sure that there's really good contact between the stamp and your surface. And I like to let my stamps like sit and chill out for a little bit and just kind of rest. In my holy imagination, the ink is like absorbing into the paper while the stamp is still on there, and I'm less likely to get like a smear. And so I'm going to pull that straight up, and I did wiggle it a little bit, but look at how much detail you get with that stamp. Isn't that just fabulous? Even this little part right here. And so these are so pretty. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Sandy. It's 5 a.m. Oh my gosh, Donna. God bless you, girl. You guys, I was up late this morning, and the older I get, the harder it is to do these all-nighter businesses. And so when I had to get up this morning, usually when my husband leaves, like I hear him, he's like clockwork. I can tell what time it is based on like when I hear the microwave and when I hear him get up. But he woke me up this morning when he left. That second one's a lot better. See, I didn't do it as juicy. So you can see all the details in that stamp. That is going to be so fabulous. Hey, Jackie. And so the wings are my favorite part, but you have some other elements on here that are super cool too. You have the two angels blowing the trumpets, and the little ones, like this one's a little cherub here, right? And then you have these little smaller elements like little swags and florals. And just because this stamp comes all together doesn't mean that you only have to use them together. You can use these with other things based on whatever it is that you're creating. So that's one of the stamps. And then the other stamp is so freaking cute. This is so stinking cute. And it's called Cozy. Like, how fun is this? Hey, Maureen. How fun is this? Hey, Amber. Cross stitching, like without the work. Here, let's take this one out so you guys can like see it. And if you guys want to know the size of like any particular like portion of the stamp, let me know, because I have my tape measure today. Oh my gosh, I know, I'm such a dork. I am. I don't want that side to come off. I want to pull the top off. Why is the back coming off? Oh, it is. It's just okay. This one is so cute. And it has so many options for this one, because you could make gift tags with this one. I'm trying to lay it down on the white so you guys can actually see like what it looks like. So lots of like, is it cross stitching? What do you call it when you needlepoint? Needlepoint. So, I mean, you could theoretically stamp this and actually do needlepoint, although I will probably not do that. Oh, Donna, you're so sweet. I'm glad you were able to make it. I did 10 o'clock so that no one would have to get up early. Okay, so I wouldn't have to get up early. So, but like these right here, I am super excited about the options of the needlepoint portions of this in particular. I love all of it. I think like Lexi Grinzer, I don't know if you guys have been to her page this morning, but she made like little gift tags with this, and she put a little pocket on there, and then like you can stick like a Starbucks gift card or something in there. Yes, Maureen, they are, and we're actually going to play with that in just a few minutes. I already have my one half poured, and we're going to pour the second half and put them together to be able to make them three-dimensional. Actually, I think all of the molds are symmetrical with this release, which is super, super smart. Super smart. So we have like a to-go cup, you know, your coffee cup, all of the needlepoint. Look at, you even have some whipped cream that you can put on top of your cup. These are so stinking cute. And so like for this one right here, should we do this real quick? We'll come back. I'm trying to stay focused, you guys. I'm having a hard time. But we'll come back to this because I was thinking of things like if you had bunting flags, you could do this little needlepoint across the top, and then you could just spell out whatever you're going to spell out on there. You know what I mean? Or if you have like ornaments, you could unify all of your ornaments, because these two pieces are separate right here, this one and this one. And so if you had something that's smaller scale, you could still add the needlepoint to that. And so you could do this like right down the middle, right? How cute would that be to paint this a color and then have a needlepoint going right down the middle of that ornament. So this one is called Cozy, rightfully so, right? Cozy Coffee. I guess it could be tea, because there's like a little lemon, what do you call those? Like a little lemon pill thing right there too. But cinnamon sticks, which don't have to go with tea, they can just go separate. And so even these little round, these are needlepoint too. Make sure you guys can see that. All the detail in there. So we had 2 stamps. Those were the 2 stamps. And there were, should we do the molds? I want to do the molds last. Let's do the inlay. And so I've already been playing with my stuff, and so it's not all beautifully packaged. But I wanted to open it so that you guys could actually see it. So this is the paint inlay. Do the stamps have the extra masking sheets with them? Yes, Shannon, both of them do. I just pull them out because and the masks are green now, which makes it a little bit easier to keep up with them. When they were clear, it was harder, right? So each of them do have the masking sheets with them. Both stamps do. Thank you, Shannon. Good question. Yes, in the embroidery hoop, Joanne. Wasn't that so cute? And you can get those on Amazon. I believe the ones that they used were the 3-inch embroidery hoops, in case you wanted to do that. Super fun. So this is the paint inlay. I was super excited to see the paint inlay for holidays, because a lot of times, especially if you're a sign maker, you do not want to have to limit where your signs can be used. And with the inlays, unlike with the transfers, if you make something with the inlay, you can use it outside, right? Because basically it's just a painting. So you don't have to worry about like the vinyl. Like here in Arizona, I would never put a transferred item on my porch. I think it would just, I don't know how long it would last out there. But for the paint inlays, I would absolutely do this. And so you guys can see the size of these. And they really are for signs. Like, look at this. This is 16 inches wide, right? And so these would be really significant pieces that you could do. This one is super cute. I'll show you guys the back too, because I know, oh, and maybe it's not backwards for you now. Let's see. It is backwards. So this one is the gingerbread bakery. Like, how cute is that, right? These two, especially if you're making signs, you could use them in conjunction with something else, because you have a Christmas tree. I mean, and this Christmas tree is pretty tall. It's 16 inches tall, right? And then the swag is super cute, because it's not like, it's traditional but not traditional. They're like lemons in there, lemon peels, cinnamon sticks. So it's traditional, but it's not traditional. Question: how do you store the molds so that you can find them when needed? I'm always looking for storage ideas and solutions and haven't found the right solution for the IOD products. Maureen, girl, y'all know I'm not organized. I am probably not the best person to ask. I will tell you though, I put my molds, I'll show you. I'll get up in a few minutes and show you how I store my molds. I don't know if it's the best option, but my mind, the way that my mind works is I categorize things. And so this storage solution works for me, but I'll show you. I need to sell a kid. Hey, Ashley, I know. But like, look at how many projects you get out of this inlay. We're not even done with the inlay yet. This one is super cute. You could use it. And I want you guys to see, like, this is how bright the colors are. I'm just showing you the back side so that you guys can see it in the right direction. So I want you guys to know, like, we're looking at it through paper. But the colors are really super bright. So this one is, again, another sign idea. And these baubles here, you don't have to use them with this. You could use this like on an insert for a wreath, and then you could use this for something else completely different. And I know that everyone is super excited about the truck with the Christmas trees in it. And the beautiful thing about these is there's like a natural distress to them. You see the wheels, how they're not like perfect. There's a natural distress to them. And so it just makes it look really authentic. And if you use your like, como se dice, the stamp with all the textures, I think it's vintage texture stamp, over the top, then you can make them look even more vintagey. But these items you can add to a sign just to add some, you know, something a little extra to them. And more typography. This one says sleigh ride. And so this is basically like 3 signs. Hot cocoa. This one is cute. It reminds me of something you'd see in a diner in like the 50s. And then fresh cut. So I could use my truck with this fresh cut to make a sign, or I could even use it with the Christmas tree, right? And again, the colors are really bright. I'm just showing you guys from the back side so that you can get an idea. I mean, so that you can see them in the right orientation. So Kay is saying she's not familiar with the inlays. Are they decoupage? They're not. You know what? We'll do a small inlay today. You guys are gonna make me come off script, but it's okay. We'll do an inlay together. Basically the inlays, so this is paint. It's like printed paint, if you will. I think that's the best description I have for the inlays. And so I'll show you guys how you transfer this printed paint from this paper onto your project. And then once you seal it, it's just like anything else that you would paint. Only you have the benefit of having the artwork already be done for you. The French horn, my daughter plays a French horn, always looking. Ooh, how fun, Corey. I found a brass one at the thrift store the last time I went shopping. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but it's gonna end up on my porch some kind of way. And then this one is huge. So if this is 16 inches, let's see how tall the letters are. Like if you're doing a leaning sign on your porch, so the letters are 7 inches tall. So each of these letters are a full 7 inches, and it spells out Noel. So N-O and then E-L. Oh, Lord, did I lose it? N-O. I'm trying to keep my backing paper on my paint so I don't like jack it up. E-L. And so this spells out Noel. And so you guys can imagine the size of this. So if you have like a sign, right, you could paint that on there and lean it on your porch, or you could even make like really big flags and put the N-O-E-L on each one, and decorate your flags like super pretty first. Oh, you guys have not heard of inlays? You know what? I wasn't gonna do an inlay, but we'll do it. We'll do it together. I'm gonna set it over here so I'll remember. I'm gonna try not to stay on too long, but you guys know how I am. I get excited and then I start talking. So my transfer is, oh, but I was gonna show you guys the photos on the back. I like to show you guys the actual things, because when we show the photos, you can't really get a good idea of the scale. But all these 8 pieces are included in this inlay though. So you get all this artwork in this one book. And so that's your inlay. And then this is the transfer. Oh Lord, it's a mess, y'all, because I've been playing already. Ooh, fresh cut would be good on a saw blade. You know what, Donna? I am making that today. Thank you for that idea, because I pulled out a saw blade and I wasn't sure what to do with it. But it would have to go across. Yeah. I am so doing that, Donna. I'm stealing that idea. Just saying. Just so you know. Full confession. And so this is a transfer, and it's 8 pages of pure yumminess. I'm going to show you guys the actual transfers in just a minute. I started playing with mine already last night, so it's already like kind of jacked. So let me put these in the back, and we'll get to those last, because I've already cut some stuff out of there, but I'll show you guys what I took out. So this is what we're going to be doing today. In a few minutes, we're going to use this one to make a sign. This is really a lot of topography, right? Mountain Lodge. So Christmas Valley Mountain Lodge. Super fun, right? Hey, Melody. And then this one is like for a smaller sign. Sorry, I gotta find my camera. And then another red truck. I know everybody's loving the red trucks. And throughout this one, you will see all these really pretty sprigs on here, right? That you can kind of put anywhere. And this one, I don't know if I know the artist who did this. This one is not Lexi, but everything looks hand painted. And so you have your kind of winter animals, the bear, the deer. Isn't this so cute right here, this little house? We have an announcement coming up from Roycycled, you guys. I can't tell you yet. We may have like a little sneak peek early. But these transfers are going to work so beautifully with something that we have coming from Roycycled. And then here, look at some greenery. So like if you're a sign maker, think about how easy it would be to transfer these little bits over the like several signs, right? So if you made like a few signs, and you could take a little sprig here and a little sprig there and a little berry here and a little berry there, and you guys will notice there are tons of birds on this transfer, like tons. I know everybody they really like the birdies. And so like these little bits here would be perfect on the edge of a sign, on the top, like a little swag. And we have this huge wreath, berry wreath. This is only half of it. The other half is on the other page. And then there are some loose berries so that you can kind of fill things in. More birds. There are lots of birds on this transfer, you guys. And more like little decorative elements that you can add to your projects. This swag right here is so pretty. And then you have all these little bits that you can add to things, right? These little bits of evergreens. And then you have a smaller wreath as well. And some more berries too on this one. Am I boring you guys by going through every page? You know what, Anna, you can find the transfers on my website. I will put a link up in just a few minutes. And you know what, Anna, if you text hello to 928-563-4641, you'll always have this information ahead of time. So Maureen has a question. I love when you guys put question in all caps, by the way. It's really helpful for me. Thank you. I appreciate that. With the black and white transfers, can they be painted or colored? The black and white ones, I believe they can be painted. And what you can do to cheat too, if you find that the vinyl is creating too much of a resist when you try to paint over these, you can put like some clear gesso over them, and then you can paint over them super easy. I hope that's helpful, right? So either a clear gesso or even like a matte sealer you can put over the top of these, and then you can go in and paint. I don't think these are like the paintable transfers that we had a couple of years ago, because those were strategically made so that there was no vinyl in between the black lines. So the paint laid differently, and you could actually use the line as a resist, but you can paint them. You just won't get that same effect that you got with the paintable transfers that we had before. What is IOD? IOD stands for Iron Orchid Design, and it's a company, and I sell their products, and they make tons of transfers and molds and stamps and paint inlays. And so these are the ones that just came out today. Look at this swag. Like, how pretty is that? If you wanted something more neutral with just a little pop of red in there. And then the last, and I cut out some birds. I cut out some stuff, but I'm going to show you guys what I cut out in just a minute. And then this is the other half, right, of that the large wreath that I showed earlier. And let's measure this wreath. So from top to bottom, the wreath is like 15 inches. And then each side of the wreath is 8 inches deep. So that would be like a 16-inch wreath. It would be like this big. That would be a big wreath. If it were like, if we were to look at the whole thing, it would be 16 inches. So that would be like a really big wreath. And then you could put something fabulous in the middle of it, right? And so that's the 8 pages. But you guys know I had to make some tags, right? Where did you get the reindeer mold? Elizabeth, we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. I know that cardinal is beautiful, isn't it? I think that's my favorite one. I don't know why they only put 2 ornaments on the large Christmas tree. Most artists and designers know to use 1, 3, or 5. Odd numbers look best. I don't know, Joanne. Nobody asked me my opinion on that stuff. But I'm thinking they were leaving room for creators to go in and add things, maybe. Thank you, Sheila. So these, you guys know me in my tags, so I had to make tags. So you guys saw that there were some things that were cut out here. So this guy, this is a reindeer. He's kind of chilling, and I just took my tag and used a scrap piece of recycled decoupage paper, and then I put this reindeer over the top. I mean, and like you can see his back feet right here. He's super cute, right? You know what, Jennifer? I don't ship to Canada, but I will. Oh, I should have set up an automation. Jennifer, message me and I will get you someone in Canada who can take care of you, okay? This little guy I cut out of there. Isn't he so cute? And again, just a scrap piece of recycled decoupage paper over my tag, and then I just put my transfer little birdie on there, and he's just carrying a piece of holly in his beak. You know, he's just going about spreading Christmas joy, I guess. I don't know. You guys, I was doing this like 1 o'clock this morning, so there may have been some madness. And this is another tag, and again, just the background is a piece of and all of these backgrounds, these 2 were scraps from, oh Lord, I forget which decoupage paper. I think it's actually one of the Halloween designs, but it was just a typography. This one, the stamp and the white in the back are from the Christmas Masterboard decoupage paper, but I decoupage the deer on there, and then you see how you can just use those little pieces of green sprigs to add like a little Christmas everywhere you go. So I just love that. And did I bring out? I did. And so in my mind, when I look at the Christmas Masterboard, the recycled decoupage paper, I see all kinds of opportunities to use. And so you guys can see, like, this was the top that I used on that tag. It was just a little corner off of there. But I can see a lot of opportunities to integrate the decoupage paper with the transfers and even the molds, which we're going to look at the molds in just a minute. So this was the oh Lord, I forgot the name. The Christmas Valley transfer from IOD. 8 pages of Christmas goodness. topography and holly and berries and tons of birds. And so you guys can imagine, like, yeah, you just rub them on. You know what we're going to do something together in a few minutes so I can demo these out for you guys. But look at all this yumminess that you get in this transfer. And so you can imagine how many different projects that you can do. And this little house right here, like, I have a project already, but I can't show you guys yet because it's with the new Roycycled Treasures product that we haven't released quite yet. So that was one transfer, one inlay. I'm trying to keep track. 2 stamps, and then the last thing, not this one, this is the old mold, but I'm going to do something, are the molds. And there's 4 different molds. And so this one is called Jingle. How fun is this one? So I've already started pouring because we're going to demo something in a few minutes. How fun are those jingle bells, you guys? And they have like details in them. And I'm super excited to see this stag right here because last year I did a mounted stag and I had to sacrifice a toy to make it. But I'm so happy that they did a front facing stag because I am going to mount him on one of the frame molds is my plan. Anyways, super fun. And that would be a beautiful ornament. And then I'm going to pop this guy out. I poured some resin ahead of time so that I could show you guys what they look like when you pop them out. And I'm hoping we have a few minutes to be able to paint these. Look at him. Isn't he so pretty? No need for Mod Podge. You just rub them on. No, we're gonna, who's asking that question? Miriam, you know what, you guys, I'm gonna demo everything in just a few minutes, I promise. I just wanted to go through and show you guys everything. And then I have a couple of projects planned so that you guys can see exactly how everything works that we have here. And so these are the molds. These molds are pretty intricate. You know, they have like the legs and the antlers. So I feel like either resin or hot glue is going to work best with these particular molds. Yes, Rhonda, they are in stock and they are for sale. So Rhonda, you can either go on my website or they'll be in the shop too at Gila Valley Made. I already have them like packed up and ready to go so I can get them to the shop first thing tomorrow morning. So Elizabeth, no, this is not clay. This is actually a resin. It's funny because I bought it reluctantly when I couldn't find the resin that I normally use, but I like the color of it. Like, it's not a stark white. It's kind of a warm white. So Joanne, so the new papers, everyone, I've gotten like messages about new paper. Oh, that's where it's coming from. Okay. So it's not paper. It's something else. That's what I will tell you. So Roycycled, we did our release of our Christmas designs in July because we serve a lot of makers who are making things for their booths and their shops. And so we wanted to make sure that they had product early. So we've already done our release of Christmas. What we have coming up is actually not paper. It's something completely new for our brand. And I'm super excited. Yes, I still have items on my website. I wish I could, I posted on the top of my page the link to my shop where you guys can find everything. And also, if you guys join my texting like messenger group, you guys will always get messages early. You can text hello to 928-563-4641 and you'll get text messages, or you can put hashtag text in your comments right now. If you put hashtag text, then you guys will get a message with the link of where you can do these. And so, yes, Karen, these are available on my site. So I'll be posting that in just a few minutes again for everyone. So, and there's also bells on this one, but I figured we'd pour the bells together. So I'll show you guys the actual mold. But I always like to show, because sometimes it's hard to look at the negative space and imagine what it's going to be once it comes out. So you have the 2 bells, and I mean, you have like the bells, and then you have jingle bells, and then you have a cute little bow you can put on your reindeer's neck, right? Like, he can be looking all handsome with a bow right there on his neck. Super fun, super fun. Okay, so the next one that I have here is called Baubles. How fun is that name, right? Let me put my reindeer back over here with here, because we're gonna pour some resin together in just a few minutes. I cannot believe it's 10:36 already. I told myself an hour. That is not gonna happen. So these are some baubles. Oh my gosh, it's 1:30 there. Oh my goodness. Well, it's in the afternoon. I have quite a bit of stock. I think I'll be okay. Nancy's asking if I'm going to be at Pinners this year. I am. I'm going to be at Pinners in Scottsdale, the weekend of November 12th. And actually, if you put hashtag Pinners on there, I'll send you the information to Arizona Pinners for that much. Hey, Judy. So the baubles, you guys, look at this. Look at the details in these. And so I poured these for you guys earlier. And the cool thing about the baubles mold is that all these are symmetrical. So you could pour two sides and glue them together and make like a whole like ornament, right? And you have all these options. I poured these 3, but look at all these other options you have. And I'm going to experiment. I wanted to have it done before today, but I didn't. I'm going to do some experimenting with something I think that may work. And we are going to, I'll share that with you guys later, but we'll pour some baubles together because I want to pour the other sides of these so that we can make some really pretty ornaments together today. And a lot of you were so distraught last year when the snowflakes mold sold out. And so IOD has come out with another snowflake mold. And you guys, there's more detail if you can imagine. Look at all that yumminess. Wait, I'm going the wrong way. There's more detail in these snowflakes than even the ones from last year. Right? A garland would be so pretty, and you could just pour these and pop them out, and then you could make a beautiful garland. And again, these are also symmetrical, so you could make a two-sided snowflake. You know what, Billy? Oh, I know one of the makers, she posted pumpkins with the baubles on top, and you're right, they're absolutely beautiful. Yeah, Melissa, they are so pretty. I'm just looking at comments, make sure I didn't miss any questions or anything. And usually somebody asks me about size, and nobody's asking me today. So we're going to measure just to give you guys an idea of scale. I didn't pour the big one, but this one is 3 inches. So they're like significantly sized. And the cool thing about this is you have all these different sizes, right? So the big one is... oh wow, 5.5 inches across. So this big one is 5.5 inches across, but then you have some medium-sized ones, and then you have a step down from there, and even further you have these tiny ones, which can even be a step down from there. So like if you're making, the name of this mold is Blitz. Sorry, this one is called Blitz. If you're making a sign, and let's just say maybe you added some snowflake from the inlay, you could also follow up with some 3-dimensional snowflakes on that sign, right? Just to give it a little bit more something. But these are super fun. I don't know why these look like cookies to me. I just want to bite them. So that is the Blitz mold, is that one. And then the last one, and probably my favorite, you guys, is the Holly Lane mold. You guys. So I poured these because I want to make something. And so we're going to pour the other half together. Look at the details on that pine cone. Like, OMG. Yeah. Yeah, Miriam, you could use clay in this one. Absolutely. There aren't a lot of like really tiny pieces, but there are still a lot of like really intricate details. Look at that pine cone. I just think they're so beautiful. And you have, like, I'm going to show you guys. I poured, seriously, I think this one's my favorite one. And we're going to do a project with this one, maybe. We'll see how long you guys want to hang out with me today. You have, like, all these different pieces for the holly. I'm sorry, my camera's struggling to get, there we go, focus, right? And so much detail in each one. But all these different options so that when you're building something out, you guys know how it is when you're building something out and you just need like one little leaf, or you just need like one little berry, or one little, you can build out like something super fabulous because you have all these intricate pieces that you can use with the holly. I know, Billy. I knew everyone was going to be so happy. This is definitely the biggest holiday release they've done. But yes, a lot of beautiful things for the holiday. And so that is the Holly Lane mold. So you have two of the pine cones. And one of the things I did not pour, I think we'll pour this one together, is the swag. So there's actually a huge, I poured all the smaller bits, but there's a huge, this is like one massive swag of just holly. Could you guys imagine that on a door hanger? Dawn says she has 2.5 hours to watch. Oh, I hadn't thought about earrings, Donna. That is such a good idea. That is such a good idea. And so I was fiddling around in the shop last night because last year, and that's all of the new stuff. So I've showed you guys everything, and now I want to play a little bit. So there are questions about how the transfers are used or how you use the molds, and some of you are new. And so Miriam, we're going to go over that right now as well. And so I wanted to play a little bit with each of the things that we have so that you guys could kind of see some of the possibilities. I mean, honestly, because I design a product, I know how it is. You make something and you imagine how people are going to use it, but you really don't know. And it goes out into the world and you guys just make fabulousness. And I'm in for all of it. I'm in for all of it. So let's start with our molds since we have them out. I'm using Amazing. So Illuminite is the company that makes amazing casting resin. And so last year, I don't know if you guys can remember, you couldn't find the casting resin anywhere. So when that happened, I bought this one. And it comes in 2 parts. You get part A and part B. I'll have to add this to my list on Amazon. And this one, it's like a creamy white. I'm really enjoying using it. This is what I've been using this morning. And so I'm going to mix those together for you. But last year when the frame molds came out, I saw these as being ornaments that reminded me of like old Victorian jewelry. And so of course I ran out and I bought a whole bunch of stuff because you guys know how we crafters do. I went out and bought stuff to be able to make these. And so one of the things that I bought were jewelry bells. And so what these are, here, let me get my other. I'm going to take these ribbons because I'm going to use those. I bought all these jewelry supplies, y'all. So I'm going to use them. I'm not going to just let them go to waste. I thought these would be beautiful if I made like, I don't know, like 7 of these, you know, both sides, and put the bells on there and then hung them at the end of this really pretty red ribbon and painted these green, right? And then went over them with a brown glaze. I think that would be fabulous. So, but we're not gonna have time to do that, but I will be doing that. It'll probably be a YouTube video. But I have these bales that I bought and I have like 1 trillion of them. And so I figured I would use them for my ornaments. So if you have a booth and you're looking for a way for your products to maybe stand out a little bit, I think there are small things that you can do. So like, I made a mistake last night of pouring like epoxy resin. I had to leave my shop, you guys. But one of the things I did was when I poured it, I just set this bell at the top. And so now when I pour the other side of this to make it three-dimensional, this bell will be sandwiched in between the two. And so I can run a really beautiful ribbon through this. And now my ornament becomes a little something extra, right? Doris is asking how long does it take for this to set up. This one is 10 minutes. It says that you have a 2-minute work time and then a 10-minute casting time. So it's kind of nice because it's fast, but it's not so fast that you're going to end up with some hard resin in your cup. And so I have all these bales. Look, I ordered all these different colors because when IOD came out with that one mold, you guys remember the one with all the little like, what do you call those? Oh my goodness. Anyways, I bought all this jewelry supply. So I'm going to use them on my baubles. And I did the same thing here with this one. Only I did feel, so I put this bale on this one on the first pour, and I did discover that it's better to wait until the second pour. Yes, Karen, I got it on Amazon. Billy, shh. I don't want your husband coming after me now. The cameos. Thank you, Sandy. Yes, when the cameos came out, I ran out and bought all kinds of jewelry supplies. And so I'm going to use them on my baubles. So I've already poured. So let's do the baubles first then. And I think I may have. And so when I'm pouring resin, you guys, so with the new IOD molds, like the last couple that they've launched, one of the good things is it actually tells you how much resin you need for each like thing, which is really cool. But my mind doesn't work that like, it just doesn't work like that. So I just mix what I think I'm going to need. And then if I have extra, I always have like an extra mold handy. You do have to mix. We're going to mix it right now. I have like an extra mold handy so that I can pour any extra resin in there. And then I have little containers and I keep my molds in there and I use them. Love the clear resin. So the clear resin is amazing casting. It's an amazing, so this one, and this is why I made the mistake, because it's an amazing casting, but this is one is it's not the regular casting resin like we normally use, and it's in a purple box. I don't know why they did that to me. Like, don't they know I color coded my mind? Because this one is a coating and casting resin. So this one does have a really strong odor, but it did cast clear. And so you can get crystal clear resin though. I'll have to get the name of that one. There is a crystal clear that everybody likes. Could you bring the bell closer? I can. And we're going to pour this one together too. So you guys see, like, you have the traditional bells and the jingle bells, and then you have your reindeer, and you have a side view, which is symmetrical so that you can put two sides together, because you know he has to be facing different directions. So this one's facing this direction and that one's facing that direction, but I cast this one on this side, but now I can cast the other half and it'll be two-sided. So I could put like a stick in him and make him look like he's on like a merry-go-round, which is what my mind is doing. Yeah, Billy. So you want to make sure that you don't get the coating resin. You want to get the casting. You know what? It's Bales. It's B-A-I-L. Jewelry Bell. B-A-I-L. So yeah, the jingle bells, right? They're super cute. So I casted 3. They come in 3 different sizes too. And again, everything is symmetrical. So you could cast both sides and put them together and make a whole, like, you know. Ooh, that would be pretty. Yes, you can use epoxy resin in your molds. Just know that your curing time is like 6 hours with the epoxy resin. Yes, we saw that too, Joanne, with the jewelry, with the embroidery hoop. Super cute. And so let's go ahead and pour some resin. Let's get started because we're already like, oh my gosh, almost an hour just showing you guys the stuff. So what I'm going to do is, my plan is, and hopefully it works because I haven't practiced this, but you guys are going to be with me. You guys know how I roll. We're going to see. Yeah, Sandy, jingle bell on the ring. Exactly. Like you can do jingle bells on the end of your ornaments. I'm pulling out my bells, and these jewelry bells are really nice because they have texture on the one side, because most of the time you would just glue this, and you could, like I could take this bell and I could glue it on the back of my deer head right here with like some E6000, and it would lay flat on the back of his head. Sorry, wait for that. You know what I'm saying? And then I could string it and it would be absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to be laying mine in here, and the back is smooth. So I am going to just go ahead and just kind of sand it just a little bit to add a little bit of texture. Because the front has texture on it already to hold so that it holds better, but the backs are pretty smooth. So I'm going to just like run. And this is all an experiment, you guys. Welcome to my laboratory. So we have all this side already poured, right? So my plan is to pour the other side, sit my bell on top, and then sit this one on top of that one. And then hopefully they'll cure together and I can pop it out and I'll have a whole ornament. We shall see. Show that again. Oh, okay. So like if you have a flat ornament that you want to use, right? You can just glue this bell onto the back of it. Like that. You just glue it on there. And then from the front, you would just have this really pretty hoop that you could then string in a ribbon or something to be able to hang your ornament. Hey Sheila, thank you. Oh yeah, you could make a garland, you could make it an ornament, because once you have that hoop on there, it could be whatever you want. I mean, this could be a necklace if you want it, right? You could just paint it with a beautiful, like, I love Posh's pigments. You could paint it like a beautiful gold color, and that would be fabulous. That's probably what we're going to do with our baubles today. So let me get started. I'm going to be using this one, the Luminite White, right? So whenever you're using resin, or the resin that I use, it's a two-parter. So this is part B, and then you have a part A, and they're clearly marked. So it's a two-part. And do not judge me. My resin cup looks a hot mess, but I love using the latex resin cups. I feel like it gives me more control when I'm pouring, like something intricate. I can just squeeze this and control how fast my resin pours out, and they clean up really easily. You just literally, because the resin won't stick to the cup, so you can just pull the resin out. But I've been pouring a lot of resin this morning, so my cup is looking a little hot mess. Yes, Bail. It's B-A-I-L, Sherry. I looked this morning to make sure because I had a question. I knew that would be a question. And also, did I put my Amazon store? I don't think I did. I need to do that. I didn't make an automation for my Amazon store, but I will. So you see this? This is my cup that I use. And you know how they always put everything like clear? Like I cannot see that. Yeah, it cures in 10 minutes, Valerie. And so you guys can see I already have my cup marked here. Those black marks tell me where I'm going to pour. So if I was going to make just a little bit of resin, I would use this bottom line, and then I would pour my A to the bottom line and then B to the top line. We're using a lot of resin, so I'll be pouring A to this top line here. Wait. I'll be pouring A to this line, and then when I pour my B, I'll pour it up to the second line. And that's how I measure. I don't use two different cups. I just used one cup, but I have it marked. So I know that I'm going to do A to the second line in there, and I'm going to do B to the third line. And I already know that that's going to be half and half. And so I'm going to pour my A first in my cup. And they give you a little squeezy thing, but like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm too impatient to be squeezing out resin. So I just take mine off. And I like to hold my cup eye level when I'm pouring so that I make sure that I'm being pretty accurate. And you guys, don't be afraid. Like if you're off a little bit, it's not the end of the world. Like you would have to be off like a lot of bit for your resin not to set up at all. But I do feel like a mad scientist whenever I'm using this. Welcome to my laboratory. I know, I'm such a dork. And so now I'm going to pour this up to my top line because I know I've already marked my measurement, so I know exactly what I need to do. And so the instructions say that you have roughly 2 minutes to stir, which doesn't sound like a long time, but it is. And so I'm going to stir this until it looks uniform. You'll see like little ribbons of different colors if it's not mixed well. And so you want to just keep stirring until it's pretty uniform looking. And this gets cloudy at first, and then it turns into like a clear amber color. And depending on which one you use, that might change. But when you first put it together, you'll see it get cloudy. And then as you mix it, it gets clear. And that's when you know that it's mixed well. And so I'm just going to pour this resin into my mold. And I love using the resin too because it captures all of the wonderful details of the mold because it goes in liquid, right? And I am trying to pour just to the rim because I'm going to attempt to sandwich these together. So if I over pour, I mean, it won't be the end of the world, but I'll have to clean it up afterwards. And you guys will see me like dropping a little bit of resin. I want to make sure that I get resin all the way down to that end there. And so, but you guys can see like I'm moving quickly, but I'm not like, it's not like mass hysteria, right? It's just, you just move quickly. You don't have like all day to pour, but you don't have to be frantically pouring either. And I have some extra, so I'm going to go ahead and pour into these molds. And I just kind of look and gauge, like, I don't know. And I still have a little bit left, so I probably have enough for like a leaf. And then I still have a little bit left, so I'll do this leaf and berry right here. And so that's how I do. I should measure, and if you're like a super like linear thinker, just know that you have the option of like planning out exactly how you're going to pour because the measurements are on your mold, and then you can pour. But if you're not a linear thinker like me, just keep an extra mold on hand, and then you can just pour out any extras. So I poured my my baubles, right? So I'm going to lay my my bales at the top. Now, this is experiment, you guys. We're going to see. I know, Allison. I overpour too, but you can just clip them off later. Oh, thank you, Winnie. Stacy, this is Illuminite's resin. It's a casting resin. Okay, I want to make sure I answer. Oh, Lord, it's setting up. Y'all got me talking. I'm going to miss my opportunity because I want to get my sandwich done, right? That's what I'm going to call it before it starts setting up. And my hope is that it's going to meld together to create my ornament. This one might be too pointy for the bell. We're going to see what happens. And I'm kind of pushing it in there a little bit so that the resin, like I can kind of see the resin squishing out the sides a little bit. And you guys, I'm using bells, but just think you can stick a string in there. You can stick a wire in there, right? Anything that you want so that you can hang your ornaments, you can stick it in there. And I'm kind of pushing it down into the mold a little bit. I love the fact that they made these symmetrical because it gives us options, right? Now we can make a 3D ornament. I know, Donna. I know I was talking, girl. But you guys see, like, you have to hurry, but it's not like I'm frantically hurrying. You just have to move swiftly, but you don't have to, like, move crazily swiftly. So we're going to let those sit up. We'll set those aside, right? And we'll take a look at those. And I don't know how the bell's going to work on these kind of pointier ones. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. You may want to just take a piece of string and double it for the ones with the pointy tops and save your bells for the ones with the flatter tops, as we can see here. So like this one will work with the bell. I even think this one won't work because it's large enough, but maybe because these are so pointy at the top, it may not work, but we shall see in a few minutes, right? I'm going to put this one to the side. And one thing that I want to note when you're working with surfaces like this is to make sure, and you know, I forgot to, I was going to put this guy on there, but I think it's too late. Is it too late? Let's see. Look, you guys will see what not to do, right? This one's kind of setting up already, but I'm going to see if that's going to stick. I don't know. I may have waited too long for that one. Worst case scenario, it doesn't stick and I have to glue them together, right? But I really wanted to meld those together is what was my hope with the bell in between there. I may have to glue that one. We'll see what happens because that was a little far gone by the time I put that on there. But I'd like to do the same thing with this one. I wish I would have made more. Honestly, I was going to make a bunch last night, but I used the wrong resin and it takes 6 hours. Hey, Joy. Thank you for spreading the love. Thank you. Thank you. And so let's do our reindeer. Should we do another side to our reindeer? Or should we, you know what? Let's not stay on the mold too much because I do want to be able to show you guys the other, because you guys get the process, right? Because everything is symmetrical. So even though I casted this is the deer, I cast it, right? I can flip him over now and I can match him up with my other deer over here. And this one is symmetrical as well. Well, no, actually it isn't. This one is not symmetrical. So that would be a little hard. But my jingle bells, I could do the same thing. I could just pour more resin and pop that in there. Or I could just use E6000 and glue them together. Like, it doesn't have to be this complicated. I just wanted to experiment with this. Because I could take these two and glue them together. And with some E6000. And no one will be none the wiser by the time I got done painting them, right? Because it would just be like a full-on ornament with two sides. So actually I might just do that. That'll be good. I'll have this one and I'll have this one. Because, you know, in my mind's eye, you guys, actually, I'm going to tell you guys what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to make these look like mercury glass. And then see this like really warm colored ribbon. I just love it. It's like really rustic, but still refined. And put that through my bale. And I just think that would be so fabulous. So I'll post pictures of what I make in a little bit. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to make anything from start to finish. Because we'll be here all day. Which, you know, is not awful, but George is here already working on our project for the day. That's what you have to do, Billy. What they don't know won't hurt them. So a lot of you were asking, I'm trying to find a safe place to put these because I don't want to stack them on top of the wet resin. You guys were asking about the transfers. So let's do something. I'm going to show you guys how the transfers work. Let me see what project. Oh, you know, we're going to do a big transfer. Let me clean up. Give me like a few minutes. I don't want to move stuff too far because I want us to finish a project together is what I want. And so I did pull out a larger project for us to work on. So let's do that. And then I'm going to have to do some videos doing like a full demo from start to finish of actual projects, because I just don't think that we can get that done in a decent amount of time. Not several on a live. Although when I started this morning, I thought I'd be able to get several projects done, but that's probably just not going to happen. I do want to paint these though. Let's let those rest and let that set up. I know that I'm going to need my entire space for this next project. And what I do with my cup, generally I'll put my stick in the resin before it cures, like it's too late now, and then I can pull everything out when it sets up. And I have some resin on my table, but I'm gonna go run really quick and get the other half of my project so I can show you guys what we're gonna do. So you can make small projects, which are fun, but I also want you guys to know that you do have options for larger projects as well. So this is a board. I've already decoupaged this. This is the Roycycled neutral ticking decoupage projects. I know, right? These are going to be so fun. So I think it's funny that in the vintage world, because you guys know I pick a lot, I go picking. There are trends in the picking world, just like anywhere else. And a few years ago, a lot of the screen printing artists went away from using the wood frames and started using aluminum frames. And when they did that, a lot of these wood silkscreen frames like came into our vintage market, and I've been lucky enough to be able to buy like a lot of them. And so we just made, when I say we, I mean George. Made, like, you guys know I love this like subflooring that I get at Home Depot, and so we cut it to size so that when I'm done I'm going to have like this really cool framed sign. And so I'm going to just use black paint to stain this, is my plan for that. But I want us to do this part together. So I did not have time to trim this. I'll trim it after we're done. It's okay. I'm going to have to move these molds. I think they're set up enough though. The one thing with the resin is you want to make sure that whatever surface you put it on is level. So that's why I was waiting to move these, because I want them to be set up before I move them so that they don't run. And we'll come back to our baubles in just a few minutes. But we're going to do a transfer together. And so this is my sign. And I know that this is going to cover up the edges of my sign. So I'm going to put this on just long enough for me to center my transfer. And I know somebody on here is like, Royce is a mess. If you're new, I'm always a mess. Just so you know, I'm a mess. Oh, put my mic back on. Thank y'all. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm a mess. Somebody new is like, this woman is a mess. I am a mess. Welcome to the Hot Mess Express. This is what it is. And so I should probably start over again, huh? Dang it. So what I was just saying was, this is a silkscreen frame is what this is. And I love finding them because they're built really well. Like, this wood is really thick. Look at that. And so this is going to be my frame. And then I like to buy the subflooring at Home Depot to use for my wood for the back of my signs. And so that's what's on the back. So I have just decoupaged this with the Roycycled neutral ticking decoupage paper. And then we're going to put the transfer over it to make a sign. I just don't know if I need to push this back a little bit, or if this is going to stand up against this really nicely, because I want everything on this to be neutral, and I'm thinking that I might do well. So we're using the decoupage paper just as a background, and I don't want it to compete too much with the transfer. So I'm going to do something really quickly to help with that. And this is something that you guys can do too when you are doing this. So whenever I have a design and I think that maybe the background is competing too much with the foreground, what I'll do is I'll do a whitewash over the surface, and that'll help push the design back a little bit. It's really important to note that I've already sealed this decoupage paper earlier today. So I'm not spraying over unsealed paper. This paper has already been sealed with a clear coat. I know. I always do that when I take my mic off. And I barely have any more, any paint left in this FIFO bottle. So we're going to see. But I don't need a ton of paint though. I only need a little. So this will be fine. And so what I'm going to do, I'm using a lot of water on purpose because I don't want to make my design disappear. I just want to push it back into the background a little bit more, so that it's not competing as much with my transfer. And so what happens when I do this wash like this is as it dries, this white becomes more opaque, but you'll still be able to see the ticking coming through. And I may need a little bit more paint. And so you guys can see why it's super important that you seal your paper first, right? Because I'm using a lot of water on here. You can't hear me? Can you guys hear me now? I have my mic on now. And you guys see, like, I'm literally just, this bottle is essentially empty. I'm just like getting just barely any paint on here and just kind of wiping it across there. I'm going to go in a few minutes and I'm going to dab this off. I do know that I want my center area to be pushed back a little bit more. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit more paint through here, so that the area where my transfer is going to be, you know, I'm going to push that design back a little bit more. And so I'm going to go through and just do some even brush strokes because I'm going to take my dryer. Oh man, my dryer. I knew I was going to forget something. My beautiful quiet dryer is in the house because I was crafting in the living room. Don't tell David. I was waiting until he went to bed last night. That's going to be covered up, so that doesn't have to be perfect. But I'm going to have to use a noisy dryer, you guys, because my beautiful quiet one's in the house. But I'm going to have to go get that dryer anyways, unless there's one here already. And there isn't. Lord have mercy. Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. And so let me go grab my dryer because we're going to need to dry this before we can put the transfer on there. Now you guys know I still have my pajama pants on, huh? Oh, you guys got to do that. Okay, so let's just, and I apologize for the noise. I've gotten spoiled with my new one. So what this is going to do, you see how as it dries, it becomes a little bit more opaque, and it just pushes the ticking into the background a little bit more so that it's not competing with the transfer. And so this is something that you guys can use if you're making signs and you're going to be stenciling over the paper. Gabrielle says she has her PJ bottoms on too. My husband wanted me to go to a meeting with him at the chamber last night, and I told him I would go. So he comes home after work, and I'm like, I just really don't want to get dressed. Isn't that terrible? I just really did not want to get dressed to go to a meeting for like an hour. Now that I work from home, you guys, I am terrible. Hi, Charlene. Oh, thank you, Billy. And I know it's hard to really convey online, you guys, but the ticking paper isn't just lines on paper. There's a lot of texture, so it looks basically like fabric. Ooh, Jill, I want to see your next project. And remember, you guys, before you add all this water, it's important that you make sure that your paper is sealed and that your sealer is dry. Yeah, Joanne, the holiday papers came out in July. I think I know what's causing the confusion because I keep talking about a new release. The new release that I'm talking about is going to be next week, and it's not going to be paper. It's going to be something else. I just do not get dressed. I'm terrible. So I'm going to dry this. And you guys see how this is bowing? You know what my secret is? When I get all done adding moisture to this, I'll just spray the back and it'll straighten mine out. So, Shelly, what happened was, I poured a sealer into this bottle, and in that moment, I must have thought I would remember what I did, so I did not mark it. So I honestly am not sure if this is the 1 hour enamel or the varnish, but it's one of the two. So it's either Wise Owl varnish or Wise Owl's 1 hour enamel. I'm not sure which one, but I do know that I rather use the 1 hour enamel when I'm working on signs, when I'm using the transfers. So I am going to use my actual can to make sure that I'm using the 1 hour enamel. The transfers will adhere to the the varnish too, but they just do, I know, look away, I'm using my scissors, open my can. They work so beautifully, the 1 hour enamel works so beautifully with the transfers that it really is my favorite when I'm going to be layering like transfers, especially over my decoupage paper. I do want to tell you guys something. So last night when I was working on my little como se dice, my tags, I didn't let it dry enough. And so you know how sometimes if you try to transfer and your transfer won't stick and it's like picking up your paint, you just leave it there. You just lay it down and you walk away and you leave it alone and you come back when it's completely dry, and you'll be good to go. So I'm just going to take a few minutes to seal this now that I've done, but you guys see it, that whitewash? I wish I would have done like a before picture. Well, I think I have a piece of that paper. So this is the paper. So you can see before the whitewash and then after the whitewash. You see how you can still see the ticking really, really well. It just pushes it back so that it's not going to be competing as much with my transfer when I put it over the top. So I'm going to just do a quick coat of clear coat. I hate to put my brush in my can, so I'm looking for something to pour this into. My little yogurt jar has become like my clear coat jar, which I think is funny. When I bought these, I found them at a thrift store for like, I don't know, 10 cents a piece. And I had all these ideas for them, but they've basically become utilitarian at this point. So I'm just putting a quick coat, not too thick. I just, And your transfers will stick to your chalk paint. Like, you don't have to do this step. I just always like to increase my odds of being successful. And I feel like the transfers stick better to surfaces that are sealed, to surfaces that are smooth. So like if you're ever putting a transfer on a piece of glass, you better make sure when you set it down that that's where you want it, because it sticks super readily to glass. And so I am going to try and create a nice surface for my transfer so that I can increase my odds of being successful, right? So just a quick clear coat, and then we're going to dry that, and then we're going to put the transfer on. Maybe I should have done this part before we played with the molds, huh? And then we could have come back to this part. And so there were a lot of questions about the transfers earlier. And so that's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back and apply a rather large transfer. I'm really super excited that they have this in there to do like signage. And so I'm going to take my noisy dryer. I apologize. I have a fancy quiet one, but it's in the house by the couch. Thank you. And another way that we send out information, you guys, is through email. I call it my Roycycled Insiders, and my insiders always get announcements first. Anything that we have coming up. As a matter of fact, we have the big announcement coming out next week for the new products, and our insiders will be the ones to hear about it first. So if you want that information, you can put hashtag insider, and I will send you that information as well. I'm really going to try to focus on this middle area where we're going to actually put the transfer. But isn't this taking going to add like a really yummy background? So Maureen is asking me, the transfers don't stick well to wax. No, they don't stick well to wax because, you know, wax has like oil in it. And so it's going to interfere with the adhesion that's on the transfers. So if you're using a water-based sealer, that's what you want to do. So you don't want to use an oil-based sealer or a wax until after you're done with your transfers. And I understand the draw to wax, because wax really does create a really beautiful finish that's hard to duplicate. But you just want to save your wax until the very last, so that way you won't have to worry about it interfering with anything that you're putting on your piece. Allison. You know what, Amy? There'll be a teaser. If you guys watch Lexi Grinzer, she's going to be doing a tutorial using IOD, and there'll be a teaser in it for what's coming from Roycycled. That's all I can tell you. And I really want to make sure. So when I go into the groups, the creative groups, I hear people say things like their transfers don't adhere well, or that their transfers are popping up later. And generally there are a couple of reasons for that. One is if you have any kind of dust or debris on your surface, it can interfere, right? Two, if you've used an oil-based sealer or a wax first, your transfer is not going to adhere well. And three, if you try adhering a transfer to a surface that's not completely dry, that can interfere with your adhesion as well. Question, will your Canadian distributors have the new release next week? I'm asking because I'm about to put in an order, and I would rather do that. You know what, Maureen, that is a good question. Maureen, message me and let me know who your retailer is, and I can tell you if they're going to have it next week. And this first release of this new product is a bit of a mini release. I just want to, I think it's a really good idea, but I want to make sure. Oh my goodness, my battery on my tablet is telling me it's low, so I don't know how much time we have. Okay. Oh, good night. I should have put it on the charger last night. Apple, if you're listening, you need to make a lightning charger for the tablet too. Oh wow, you owned a home in Christmas Valley? Oh, that is so cool. The paper is still available. I do not sell the decoupage paper directly, but if you go on Roycycled.com, you'll see a network of retailers who carry my paper. If you use a wax, then you can do a piece to make it here. You know what, Jill? I don't know. You'd have to remove the wax, which would be really hard. And it depends too. Okay, if it's an oil-based wax, you can't. If it's a water-based wax, you still can. I'm going to rush and do this. I may have to post a picture later because my low battery warning is on, so I'm not sure how much time we have. So I'm going to rush and put this on here, and then if it goes off, you guys, I'm so sorry, but I'll be sure and post a picture. And if you're on YouTube, there's a community tab on my page, and on that community tab, I always do, or I've been doing the last couple of weeks, a follow-up post showing the project after it's done. And so I'm going to kind of cheat and use my lines. I'm eyeballing it, you guys. I don't know if it's in the center or not. I'm eyeballing it. We'll see. And so for those of you who had questions about the transfer, this is how you use them. They're super easy. You just lay it down on there. Oh Lord, do I have a transfer stick? And in each of your transfers, you'll get a stick like this one, only yours will be nice and clean. It won't look like this one. And you just use this, and you're just gonna rub off the transfers. And you're basically rubbing it off of the backing paper and onto your surface. And so you saw that this paper was on there. You want to make sure and leave this paper on until you're ready to adhere your transfer. Because once I take it off now, it's stuck. Like, I mean, there's portions that's already stuck. So I won't be able to move this now until I'm completely done. And so, I am just going to transfer this onto my surface, and it's going to take me a few minutes. This is a larger transfer. You can cheat with your transfers, like if it's a larger one like this, if you can push up and cause like a little wave on your backing sheet, your transfer will pop off a lot faster. But just know that if you do that, you want to go back and make sure that your transfer has really good contact with your surface. And so once you've rubbed it off, you can just take this off, and the only thing that's left behind is the actual artwork. I should have started on this side. Sorry, you guys can't even see that, can you? So I know I had a couple of people who didn't know what transfers were or hadn't ever used any. So I just want to make sure that you guys see how it works, even if I don't finish this project right now. And so you see that when I pull it back, the only thing that stays behind is the actual artwork. And so they give you flexibility that you don't get even with the decoupage paper, right? I always say you want to have multiple tools in your toolbox because you get different benefits from the different tools. The transfers are more expensive, but they give you a little bit more flexibility. And the decoupage paper is much more affordable, but it does have its limitations. You guys will often see me use them in conjunction with each other because I think that the decoupage paper can bring customization and just like special touches to your projects. And it's an affordable option to be able to do that. So it allows you to maximize, right, your other products. And my transfers always stick so readily to the 1 hour enamel, which is why I love it. And I'm going to tell you that this wood is still holding some moisture, but my transfer is still transferring, and it's because of the 1 hour enamel. It just really likes it. And I think it's because the 1 hour enamel is self-leveling, and so it really does create a nice smooth surface. Christmas Village. I'm going to go Google some images now so I can see what that looks like. In case your camera goes blank, I wanted to thank you for such a detailed presentation. Oh, thank you. Thank you. And so you guys can see, right, how that's transferring. Let's check on our baubles really quickly, just in case my camera goes out. Oh, look at that. Bam. So now I have a 3-dimensional bauble with my bell hanging out of the top. And so the experiment worked. I love when that happens. Now this one is a little wonky right here because it's super pointy, but it's there. And I could probably add a little extra glue and it would be fine. But you see, it doesn't look as clean as, let me let my camera, it doesn't look as clean, right? This one looks like super clean and nice because the top is bigger, right? So I probably wouldn't use the bells on the smaller, pointier ones, but definitely on the ones that have like the flatter tops on them. But you guys see how I was able to meld those together in the mold. So now I don't have to go back and glue these. They're done. So all I have to do is paint them. So I will paint these and I'll post a picture later so you guys can see how those turned out. Let's see. Oh, and we're going to have to do the inlay another day too. Right? The animals are so beautiful. Do you have an issue getting the transfer to stick between the ridges? What? I don't have any ridges. You know what? Dana, can you give me a little bit more explanation? I'm not sure what ridges you're referring to. Oh, I want to get this done so you guys can see it. And I'm so happy that I did a whitewash over the decoupage paper and pushed it back. I think that it would have competed a little too much had I not done that. There's a lot of line work on, but you guys, okay, so you guys will see me picking up and putting back down. So what I'm doing is if I pick my sheet up and something hasn't transferred, I can just lay it right back down and, you know, add some more pressure to it and it'll go right where I need it to go. So when you're picking up your backing sheet, don't just rip it up really fast. Like take your time and just make sure that everything is laid down, because if it's not, it is sincerely not a big deal. You just lay it right back down and rub it some more and it goes right where it's supposed to go. I've had to try to reposition mine. I guess it's not awful, it's possible, but it's a lot easier to just do this than to try to reposition it perfectly on your piece. The cups molds would be so pretty here. Oh, I know, right? Or the stamp, like if you're having hot tea at this lodge. And we didn't get the stamp either. It's okay, you guys, don't worry. I'll be back. If you guys are not following me or you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, be sure and subscribe there. I know a lot of you are used to coming and hanging out on Sunday and we do a lot of chatting, but my tutorials on my YouTube channel are really succinct. So you can come over there and I'll be doing projects over the next few weeks using these products. So be sure and subscribe and pop over. My videos are generally anywhere somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes long, but I try to be really detailed in going over information when I do projects the way you guys are used to me doing. Ooh, what about, what do they call it? The diamond dust would be so pretty in the center of your ornaments, or even on the ornaments. Like if you painted them silver and then you put the diamond dust on there. Marvelous. Now when I get to the end right here, I'm going to be really careful not to pick it up until it's all done. But look at that. And I hope I put it on straight because I started rushing. But I'm going to keep this one pretty neutral, right? I don't want to, so I'm going to stain this black, the frame. I'm going to stain it black. So it won't be really hard black because it'll be more like a stain. But I think that's going to be so cute. What do you guys think? And this is the Roycycled decoupage paper, and this is just called neutral ticking. This paper is, and again, you guys, that whitewash made a big difference, because just think about how much this would have competed with the transfer. If we hadn't whitewashed it, it'd be completely different. So I think that that worked out perfectly. And so I think that's all I have today, because I'm almost out of, oh, look at my tablet won't even go to my other view. So she's done. But thank you guys so much for hopping on with me today. I really appreciate it. I'll be sure and put a link to my actual, like, my e-commerce site on the top of my page when I hop off. So if you guys are looking for any of the things that we reviewed today or that we used, you guys can find them there. If you would like to receive like text alerts from me, you can put hashtag text in the comments and you'll get that information. If you guys are looking for information about pinners, you can put hashtag pinners in there, and you guys will get that information as well. But thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. I know that this is not a standard live for me. I'm hoping you guys had fun and you learned something new today. You guys remember, there isn't anything that I did here today that's like magical. Like, you guys can do this.